So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can quickly improve your chipping with 3 very, very simple tips. This is the short game area at PJ Catalunya here in Spain. I've been here all week with a golf score for the first 4 days, now creating some content. And we're talking about chipping and 3 very, very simple tips that can transform your chipping next time you play. And these tips you can take straight to the course. So in this particular video, we're going to be covering setup, we're going to be covering impact and low point control, and we're also going to be looking at how we actually move the golf club and what controls the movement of the golf club. Just before we get into those topics, if you're new to my channel, if you've not seen me before, I would love you to be part of my channel. It is absolutely free to subscribe, and there is a link in the description box down below. So let's get started. So what are we actually trying to do with a chip shot? Well, a chip shot is a pretty basic shot in terms of what the ball does. It goes over a short distance, it doesn't fly very high, it lands and it rolls. But it gives golfers lots and lots of issues. And there's a few things that we're going to do in this video which are going to address some of the most common faults that I see. So the first thing we're going to do, and tip number 1 to really improve your chipping, is to play the golf club from a more vertical position. And to do that, you're going to be standing much closer to the golf ball. So if I was to take my setup to this chip, I've got a 9-iron here. I'd like you to stand probably about this close. Now for many golfers, that's much closer than they would normally be. The reason we would like to stand a little bit closer is because it does lots of things. Number 1 is it tends to set the golf club more up onto its toe. So we get a slightly smaller profile of golf club that's interacting with the ground, and it makes contact become a little easier. As we stand a little closer, it tends to mean that the golf club naturally wants to work a little bit straighter back and a little bit straighter through. There's less of an arcing motion to my stroke. And what that does, it means there's going to be less club face rotation. So once I've set that golf club and aimed it where I want the ball to go, there's less chance of that ball going offline. And finally, it tends to create a slightly more upward and downward stroke, which helps us with our contact. So straight away, just standing closer to the golf ball gives us lots and lots of benefits and helps us hit these shots much better. All too often, I'll see golfers chipping at the same distance they would be if they were hitting a full shot. Just to give you a little reference point here, if I was to set up here, I'm probably no more than about 3 club head widths away from that golf ball. So that's point number 1, is to stand much closer, raise the handle up at setup. The second thing I'd like you to do is think about where the buttons or your sternum is relative to the golf ball. I would like those buttons to be in front of the golf ball by a small amount. What that's going to do is it's going to help me get my lowest point target side of the ball, so we have a slightly descending blow, which helps us with our contact. I've got a pretty good lie here. It's almost fairway lie, there's not much grass behind it. But if I was to, let's say, walk forward into this grass here, which is slightly longer, that's when this becomes really important. Because we're playing shots over a short distance, the golf club doesn't have a lot of speed. So it's difficult for that club to actually get through that grass as we make contact with the ball. So adding a little bit of steepness, a slight negative attack angle, helps us avoid some of that grass and helps us with our contact. Now the key thing I want you to focus on here is notice how the buttons on my shirt, if I move them forward of the golf ball, that's the reference point that we want. That's where we'd like you to be. It doesn't really matter to me, within reason, where the ball is relative to your stance. So as you can see, I've got that golf ball, what looks or appears to be middle of my heels. But the key thing would be my sternum is in front of the golf ball. Theoretically, I could have the ball what might look as if it's forward in stance, but provided I can lean enough left and get my sternum in front of the ball, that ball position would be fine. If I have the ball back in my stance towards my back foot, then I don't actually need to lean forward too much at all to have my sternum in front of the ball. So when we're looking at ball position, it might have a reference to your feet, but I really want you to be more focused on where it is relative to your sternum. So I want you to make sure that you've got your sternum in front of the golf ball by a small amount, and you can see that there. We're also going to have the handle a little bit forward as well. So this would be my starting position, which is really helping us with our strike. And the final thing which is really going to help you is just understanding what moves the golf club and how to move the golf club. We appreciate that over these shots here, I'm only looking to carry the ball maybe 5 or 6 paces. So the club's movement is very, very short back and through. But we still need to be using the engine, the body, the hips, the torso to move that golf club. If I don't use my body, my legs and my hips, very often as the arms go through the shot, the elbows will tend to separate. Now when the elbows separate, we narrow or we shorten the radius, the distance between the club head and my body. So if I am a golfer who wants to just use the shoulders, not use the body, it's very, very common to top the ball. Because as my arms shorten, the club raises up. I mean, that's actually not a bad result there, but that was a very lucky shot. It was a top, it kind of bumbled through the grass and it rolled up to what appears to be 4 or 5 feet. So I got a little bit lucky there, but you can see as I didn't rotate, the arms tend to want to lift up. It doesn't take me a lot of shots to hit them thin before I'll start to try and maybe drop the knees down to try and hit the ground, and we start to go down this kind of vicious circle of arms flexing, topping it, dropping the knees, hitting it heavy, and then we're really struggling with strike. So what I'd actually love you to do is, even though we're only carrying the ball a short distance, feel as if the legs are a little bit reactive to the body. So as I turn my torso through, you'll notice that my hips and my knees are following. There's not a huge amount of rotation because the club's only maybe traveling 3 feet through the ball, but they are supporting the movement of the golf club. And that's really, really important. So as we move the club back and through, the body reacts to that and we start to have this mini pivot. So let's go ahead and hit a shot. So we're going to go a little closer to the golf ball, sternum in front, and I'm going to have a little mini pivot. Ball pops onto the ground, and pretty good, just rolled a little bit past, but it's pretty good technique. So I'll just hit one more for you. Little pivot, you can see my body facing the target, and that's a little bit better shot. It wasn't a different technique or a better strike, but just distance control was a little bit better. So we're really looking to be quite accurate with these shots. We'd love to be able to get up and down, knock that ball inside 3 feet, tap it in and walk onto the next hole. Use those 3 tips and you should find that your chipping instantly improves, and those things you can take straight to the golf course because they should give you instant success. Right, hopefully that helps you. Big thank you to PJ Catalunya for hosting us for our golf school and allowing us to use these unbelievable facilities to create some content. If you're interested in future golf schools, drop me an email at holidays@chrisryangolf.com. We haven't yet set up 2020 dates and locations, but we will be doing towards the end of this year. So drop me an email if you're interested and I can provide you with that information when it's available. Usual stuff is down below, comments box, like button, all that kind of stuff, and that subscribe link is over there. We'd love to have you part of my channel and we can help you play some better golf this year. Thanks for watching.